What's good, everyone? This is the kid DC Wrestling back at again with another video. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It is time for your January 5th, 2022 edition of AEW Dynamite. This was the first AEW Dynamite of 2022, but also the first AEW Dynamite of the TBS era. They are no longer on TNT. They are officially here on TBS. And overall, I thought this show was pretty good for the most part. Before I get into this review, man, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like for more content, but also put in your questions for the Q&A. We just recently hit 500 subscribers. I'm doing the Q&A soon, so you can ask any questions, non-wrestling related, wrestling related, football, basketball, MMA, movies, TVs, all that good stuff. You know, any question you want, I'll answer, but you got to put them in the comment section if you want me to answer them. So, yeah. Now, we kick things off tonight with the AEW World Championship match, Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson 2. And we see that the three judges are Mark Henry, Jerry Lynn, and Paul Wright if this match was to go to 60-minute time limit, which it didn't. Hangman Page and Danielson put on a pretty good match. These two men headbutt the heck out of each other, so much to the point where you have freaking Danielson like blood bleeding like crazy, and Hangman was bleeding, but it wasn't as much as Bryan was. But in the end, man, Hangman Page gets the win. He retains his AEW World Championship. I thought this match was pretty good for what it was worth. Was it as good as a 60-minute time limit? I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge of that in the comment section as well. But for the most part, I thought this was a great AEW World title match, and I'm curious to see what they do with Hangman Page next. I heard Jon Moxley is making his way back to AEW, so who knows? Maybe you bring Moxley back, you have him go after Hangman, and you do that Moxley and Hangman match. Who knows? Maybe if Revolution, who knows? But we'll have to see what happens in the future, as well as what's next for Bryan Danielson. Next, we were supposed to get a match next between MJF and Shawn Dean, but Punk comes out and he nails Shawn Dean GTS, which means MJF loses his first match of the year. Shawn Dean wins by DQ. CM Punk does this because he wants to make sure that every time MJF gets in the ring, he wants him basically to lose, like tonight, every time until he faces him. Obviously, MJF cuts a great promo, talks about Punk, you're nothing, you're old, you think you're Roddy Piper, but last time you checked, Piper can headline WrestleMania, which, of course, for those who don't know, Punk never headlined WrestleMania. MJF even goes on to say that if he doesn't start getting shown respect around here, he might go headline to WrestleMania as well. But then Punk tells him to go see if the grass is greener over there because he can headline night 4 of a buy one, get one extravaganza show and get released quicker than he lasts in the sack. Which is kind of funny because I don't know if anyone heard today, but the WWE did another round of releases, mainly in the NXT area. William Regal was released, as well as Timothy Thatcher and others, but William Regal being the big one, obviously. And I just find that kind of crazy that Punk said that, considering the fact that, again, these releases happened today. All right, so after all that, man, MJF was like, you know what, you want to face me? Well, you're not going to face me because you're going to face Wardlow. So it looks like we're going to get Punk and Wardlow next week. Should be good. Chris Jericho comes back. He talks about he hasn't been on TBS since 1999 when he was on WCW Thunder, losing to Booker T. But then he comes out, 2.0 comes out, and he calls them Squarehead and Pinhead. So he's pretty much joking around with 2.0, having a good time with the laugh with the crowd. 2.0 is obviously not liking this, so Daniel Garcia comes in, puts in a sneak attack. They attack Jericho, Santana and Ortiz, Eddie Kingston come out to make the save. This is pretty much to hype up the 6-man tag that's happening on Rampage this Friday night, along with Adam Cole and the newly signed Jake Atlas. We got Wardlow versus Antonio Zambur with Jobber. Let's just be real. It was a jobber match. Wardlow wins. Boom, boom, boom. Power bombs. 5 power bombs. Win. Wardlow getting them wins. Next, we had the TBS Championship Final. Jade Cargill taking on Ruby Soho. This was the finals of the TBS tournament. Overall, I thought the tournament was pretty good for the most part, and it all culminates to here with the first ever TBS champion being Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill lifts up Soho from the second turnbuckle, which was kind of a botch finish there. Finish was kind of, ugh. But Jade Cargill makes history. She's the first ever TBS champ, so good on her. And yeah, I can't have it any other way, man. Jade Cargill, this is gonna help elevate her a lot. But I'm really curious to see what they do with the other girl who we all know, Miss Ruby Soho. So I'm curious to see what they do with her next. We get Serena Deeb. She's sitting down with Jim Ross talking about the reason they call her the professor. She has a PhD in this, you know what. Deeb takes what she wants. She demanded another match, and that's happening next week. She promises Sheeta won't walk out on her own. So they're doing this again, Sheeta and Deeb 4, which is, you know, we've seen the match 3 times already. You know, like, I thought the feud was over, but I guess not, because they're having another one. Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman puts up a fight, but Black hits with the Black Mass in what was a solid match for the most part. Same with the TBS title match. I thought the matchup was, for the most part, solid as well. But Malachi Black gets the win there. And, of course, we get the main event, man. The Lucha Bros taking on Jurassic Express for the AEW Tag Team titles. I was surprised this was the main event. I thought Bryan and Bryan and Hangman was going to main event, but it didn't. You know, pretty good tag team match. And overall, I thought this was a pretty good show for AEW Dynamite's first TBS era. Yeah. So that's been my AEW Dynamite January 5th, 2022 review. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the Kid DC Wrestling. Now, tomorrow, I will be doing my Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill predictions. That's right. Hard to Kill is this Saturday. I will be watching it. Shout out all you Impact fans out there. So be on the lookout for that. But also, remember, again, put in your questions, comment section for the Q&A. This has been the Kid DC Wrestling. And so, yeah.